everybody. Welcome to episode 5 of Ghjak on the mic. A solo episode, another one, but this time it won't be as short as the previous one, which was episode 1. Statistically, making these kinds of episodes isn't that, good, because, it didn't do as well as the other ones. However, I believe that it should be no problem, honestly. Because it's a chance for me to just be on the mic and just talk about things that I care about, what's going on in my life, if you're interested, because in a sense, these episodes are in a way, because since I travel across the internet quite often and meet a lot of people, if they just were wondering what's up, well, I'm here, literally, I guess. So, yep, it is what it is, and we shall begin. So, let's give some kind of like a podcast update, I reckon. So, yeah, it seems to me, currently, as the recording of this video, that the episode with Jan Kelp has got, more than 5 likes, which was the goal that we made for Jan Kelp to, like, what you can say, recite the names of all the countries of the world. Now, I have recorded the audio just so that, that is done and over with. However, it seems to me that, what you can say, yeah, I haven't edited it yet. Yeah, frankly, that's I didn't edit it yet. So, if you're looking forward to that episode, that video, it's being made, it's on the way, I'm making it, so it's fine, and that's cool. So far, in terms of like goals, as of the recording of this video, the episode with, what is it called? Yeah, with, Ben Time Ball, or Ben Time, or Ben Time Mapping, however the heck you want to call him, he is 2 likes off, currently at 8 likes, for the reviewing of Sabaton music and stuff like that. And the thing is, I don't know why. This is just an experiment to see how things go. I guess as the channel grows, hitting such goals will be easier. Considering how long it took for Jan Kelp's episode to get 5 likes and how long it took Ben Time's episode to get 8 likes. So, it's just some interesting statistics and stuff like that. Which does bring me on to other things that I would like to address. So, take this opportunity as a place to give your honest thoughts and feedback, since there's no guests in the episode, so you have no one else to offend but me, and I do not get offended at all. All right. So feel free to criticize me as much as you want. As long as it's constructive, it's pretty cool. Like you can say, like somebody can say in the in the comment sections, I hate your videos. Okay, cool, you hate my videos. I would just like to know why you hate your videos, So in a constructive criticism, you can say, I hate your videos. It's because there's a lot of static noise in the background, And then, okay, cool. Now I know what to change. And hopefully whenever this guy comes back, he can, let's just say, enjoy the episode, Maybe he liked the content. He just didn't like the static noise in the background. Who knows? Who knows, Who knows, it is what it is, right? So, there's nothing much that can be changed regarding that. So, yeah. But yeah, I was honestly thinking, to create new segments. Yeah. So, essentially, I was wondering what kind of segments you would like me to do during this solo part of the episode, right? And, stuff like that. Yeah. You know what? Can we have a counter in the comment section? Because I think for the solo episodes only, okay? Because I think I'm going to say a lot of times because I'm just thinking and speaking, that kind of stuff. And I just and stuff like that. So, segments like what kind of things, specific things you'd like me to discuss as a segment, or, it could be something here and there, everywhere. I do not know. It's just so random. You know what? I'll make a Google Forms down in the comment section for you guys to write up your ideas for what kind of segments you'd like to see in the future. And I think that should be a good idea. And yeah, so I think that's enough for the podcast update. Oh yeah, it's not enough yet. We have, a few more guests, on your way for the next few weeks. So look forward to that. And I'll actually, update. I'm going to change the Google form to feedback form, right? do you like say as you like the episodes, how frequent do you like the solo episodes to be, stuff like that? Because, you know, I want to just see what you guys think. And since I guess most of my viewers can't be asked to type a simple comment, I'm just going to put a form. You just, you know, multiple choice, and then there's that, and then, you know, a long answer section for, you know, if it's a segment, you know, try to sell it to me, your ideas and stuff like that. So, you know, that's good. Damn, actually, I just realized it's so hard to talk by yourself, you know, and things like that. So, you know, it's pretty cool. So, yeah, at this moment, I'm really just thinking of making like, you know what? Fuck it. This kind of episode. You see, guys, I'm the guy who likes to improvise on the spot, if that makes sense, you know, absolutely on the spot. And, you know, and I think this kind of episode just should be like a chill episode where I'm talking to you. Yes, you know, you can like reply back to any of my questions in the comment section, you know, and stuff like that. And I really appreciate it. It's like a nice way of having a conversation, considering how the chances of me being on social media would decrease rapidly. And you might be asking, Ghjak, why? I mean, aren't you trying to build a career here, like your YouTube channel or whatever? I say, yes, that is the case. However, I do believe that not only is it a massive distraction, but there's so many oofs here and there that it's just like, nah, man, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Like, I think the most social media I use ever is Instagram. And I don't even look at the posts. I just, hit the stories and see what everybody's been doing. So, you know, it's a very cool thing because you can see what people are interested in based on the posts they share, and what's up by the stories they make, which is pretty good in, like, you know, keeping tabs on who's gone where and stuff like that. You know, if you're creating your own personal spy agency, it's pretty easy. Just go on Instagram. If they're very active on Instagram, good for you. If not, then well, sucks to be you. Go to their stories, because that's where they post all the recent stuff, all the raw stuff. You know what I mean? If they're going to video on a party or whatever, you know, that kind of stuff is pretty cool, actually. So, you know, you can just spy on them in a sense and know what's up. But you see, if you do it with non-malintent, like means no malintent, then it's all good. Because, you know, it'll be like, what if like you were planning to call your friend over, but turns out he went to the club and he was pretty drunk? Well, he may be suffering from a hangover, so your interactions with him in the next day won't be as good as if he was sober, for example. So you would be like, okay, you know what? Let's chill, leave it. Maybe I'll throw the idea, but just, you know, purposely put it on the other day. I don't know why I took that example, but whatever. But, you know, that's what I used to do. But you see, Instagram is the reason why I feel like, bruh, it's not worth it. Because I'm sick. I'm honestly sick of all this Black Lives Matter stuff, and I would say justice for insert black person or non-white person. Alright? Blah, blah, blah. Listen. I think the first concern for me is, I'm not American. I don't care. Second of all, I can't do anything about it. Good, I know, and if that's your goal, sure. But it's going to get pretty damn annoying if I'm going to see it over and over. Like, I'm the kind of guy who, if you spam me something, I'm just going to run away from it. Even if it's good for me. Yep, no, I'm going to run away from it, right? Unless, this is especially the case with social issues, right? But if it's something like, you know, regarding like life and stuff, like living in like, smoking is bad for you. For example, I'm not gonna go and smoke immediately. No. Just because everyone else is not smoking, or because that kind of, you know, news is just, you know, being bombarded at me and stuff like that. No, that's not the case at all. Then not. So I guess with scientific stuff, more science-oriented stuff, you know, it's fine. But I guess things that relate to like not justice, right? These social issues. Yes, social issues. Not societal issues. Social issues. This is a social issue, if you know what I mean. Like, and stuff like that. And I think the reason why I'm getting all this American feed was because, you know, of my university and me following, I guess you can say, my to-be classmates and stuff like that. And, you know, I guess that's cool and all, but I guess because, you know, unfortunately, the guy known as George Floyd died and all this shenanigans broke out of nowhere. You know, especially to the city where I'm going to, you know, in America, St. Paul, Minnesota, for university, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, this is the massive oof. This is my I guess you can say hot take, right? Yes, the police system in the United States is oofed. Yes, people have not allegedly got justice and stuff like that. And you do you, Americans. I guess you know your country better. So don't get triggered by me speaking about your country, because I clearly do not know about it, and I clearly do not need to know about it for a while. All right. Okay. And the thing is that I just realized that the people group or the country with the least interaction I had within my entire life is the great United States of America. Full stop. I have more interactions with people from African countries, as random as Namibia, right, than people from the United States. All right. And even my online presence is mostly focused around Europe. That being Central Europe, Central Eastern Europe, and the United Kingdom. Well, no, not really the United Kingdom. That's actually a minority in my list. Whatever. Well, essentially Central Europe, stuff like that. Okay, Central Europe, Eastern Europe, the Balkans, yes, and so forth. And I guess the other realm of the internet, which is like growing in numbers, one may say, is the Spanish-speaking world. Now, that would involve all of Spain and Latin America, or everything south of the American-Mexican border. Everything south of that is essentially just Spanish-speaking, all except for Brazil and French Guyana, and what else? What other country does not speak? And maybe the countries in the Caribbean, like Jamaica and all those other random islands, with, English-speaking, French-speaking populations. Yeah. Like Haiti and the Dominican Republic, yeah. Oh, yeah, no, now I think about it, yeah, whatever. I was just thinking in the grand scheme of things, and that's essentially the Spanish-speaking world, because saying Latin America includes Brazil as well. And also, weirdly enough, Quebec. Why? Like, why is it called Latin America? Like, I think I read somewhere where they said that Latin in terms of the language, right? Since Spanish is a Romance language and derived from Latin, somebody, some part back into time, thought, yeah, we just should call it Latin America, blah, blah, blah. And that way we can also include Brazil once they stop hating us, which I don't think they still do. Like, why am I speaking as if I'm from a Spanish-speaking country? I'm not. Like the hatred between Brazil and potentially other Spanish-speaking countries. Massive oof, actually. But the hatred between Brazil and Portugal, dude, that's some next level stuff. Like, people make memes that Indians or Pakistanis really hate Great Britain, but it's not really that much of the case. But Brazilians, even the white Brazilians, hate Portugal. Can you imagine? Well, I've been talking to young people and no boomers, so I'm not really sure. But I think, that kind of feeling is quite true amongst the society and stuff like that. You really need to ask a normal person with a life to get the true feelings and understanding of a country, of a country's mentality towards something, because there's a difference in which way a feminist may talk about her country compared to some random guy in the street, who's more focused on current affairs and stuff like that, So the people who live day to day will probably be the person with the most accurate, I guess, vibe the country has with another country, or in the country in general, if that makes sense. But the country in general really is like an economic question, if that makes sense. Absolutely. Because, how's it going? You ask a poor guy, it sucks. How's it going? Ask a rich guy, it doesn't suck. I mean, may suck for him personally, but, I guess the more poorer you are, the more of an economic issue or the monetary issue is going to be. But the more rich you are, it's more likely to be something of like the emotional level. Like, this reminds me of this concept known as the pyramids of needs, where there are few fundamental human needs that make up what one may say human desire on a fundamental, rudimentary, survivalistic basis. All right. It was made by an economist. I just forgot the guy's name, and I also forgot the name of the triangle officially. But I'm pretty sure if you watch economic videos or study economics, you would know what I'm talking about. I think Maxwell's hierarchies of needs. I think that's what it's called. Maxwell's hierarchy of needs. Somehow that just sounds right, and I think that's what it's talking about. And stuff like that. And it's very interesting. So, the poorer you are, the more likely you're going to be dealing with the base of the pyramid issues like food, water, shelter, that kind of stuff. And, yeah, it is what it is. And it is that, So, and stuff like that, I guess. I guess another realm, you know what? I could really, I think it's more accurate of me to put like a ring around all the English-speaking countries, calling the Anglosphere, right? Doesn't really matter if they're Anglos, if that makes sense. Just the Anglosphere, because they're just one category, but somehow a very small category. And I think in terms of sheer numbers of still standing alive friends, I reckon Germany would be like, the German-speaking world. Germany would be a place where most of my online friends are, in terms of those who have 2 feet and can stand. There are a few who I lost contact with somehow, like one because some idiot deleted my original Discord account, and I lost my friends. Some of them I somehow still came back into contact with, by the way, mind you. And then one of them went through military service, and I never saw him again. Not sure if he's dead or not, which is like the most oof thing. I think I have more interactions with Germans, on average, than any other nationality, which is pretty interesting in my opinion, frankly speaking. Like, even in real life, any meaningful relationship I had were with Germans. Now, I do not know what your opinion is about Germany and stuff like that, but I think it's okay. Like, it's an okay country. I'm not very happy with their open immigration policy, because I somehow feel that it is subverting and undermining the true German culture, whatever that may be. Like, the fact that I do not know what true German culture is, or what a German would not know what true German culture is, it is a big indication that, hey, I think a country is losing their culture, and I think this is primarily, happening in many parts of Europe. And that's why the far-right movements in Europe have been occurring in the first place. Like, sure, there may not be anything inherently wrong about the immigrants, but, if they're not going to integrate into the culture, integrate into society, and respect the law, if they don't do any of these, kick them out. I don't care if you came from Syria, get out. And if I ended up doing, I would accept it. Yes, I may lose everything, but I'll accept that I didn't follow whatever the heck. Stuff like that. And, and speaking on immigration, I just realized a very funny incident I saw. So I saw a German and an American on stream. I watched a recording of the stream, sorry. I was about to speak French. Good thing I didn't. On this topic of immigration. Well, the German was talking about immigration in a European perspective. The way how immigration affects Europe. And maybe more in particular, Germany. Alright? So let's get this straight. Okay. More likely, immigrants, refugees from the Middle East who go to Europe are on average uneducated, come from non-urban areas like villages, or they are farmers, and as a result, their religious fervor or lack of understanding and a true education and open mind is non-existent. I'll be frank, hard truth to swallow, but it is what it is, and that's been told to me by multiple Arabs. All right. And it's amazing, mind you, these people came from the same places that that the refugees go out to come from, So it's not that I'm asking a city boy or a well-off person or a guy from a wealthy family or whatever. No. Talk to the average Joe of Arabistan, and, they tell me about all these kinds of stuff. And so then it makes sense and I understand, sure. So what does this do? They will more likely to not integrate into their society and cause a chaos, or they'll take matters into their own hands and create their own things. That's why you hear news of, streets being with Sharia law or all that kind of stuff, and frankly, it's very upsetting. But dude, I read also this news article where in Nantes, it's a city in France, a very famous city. Actually, that's where most of my YouTubers I watch from France come from. That's as a tangent. Anyways, a mother and her daughter were assaulted by what I think it was a Syrian or Iraqi refugee. I'm not sure, but it was Arab Muslim refugee because they were wearing, according to him, scandalous clothing. Like, bro, they were going to the beach. Like, but you see, the fact of me saying, bro, they're going to the beach will not make sense to him. Why? Because he has no understanding of that, because he comes from a society where that doesn't make sense. Yes, you can go to the beach, but the women will be full and, covered and stuff like that. But in Europe, they have a more, I guess, openness to nudity. So, the guy won't understand that. And clearly, the more fervent he is with his religion, that being Islam, makes a massive oof. Now, you see, I have two fundamental issues with this kind of situations. Is that one, it is screwing everybody over, right? And two people in particular, the innocent people, and then essentially the Muslims or Arabs who actually do what is required of them, integrate into culture, respect the law, follow the law, all this kind of stuff, and make religion a personal issue, a personal thing, as the way it should be, That's the way it should be, The separation of church and state is fundamental to human development, and if that can't be done in a place, that's why we have multiple oofs, which is why I think there's multiple chaos in the Middle East, but that is for a separate episode, I guess, I can talk about entirely, right? And stuff like that. But, as a result of all these oofs in Europe, they have a greater understanding of the religion by default, right? Whether it be negative or not, that's a different story, but they have a better understanding compared to Americans, alright? So now, those immigrants, refugees who end up in America, right, have to go through great lengths of struggle to get there in the first place. This is just really clear, right? So, the willingness of them to cause a massive oof is way less than anybody else, right? As a result. And I'm talking about Muslim refugees and Arab refugees, like those that come from the refugee crisis, right? Okay? I'm not talking about Latin American refugees and stuff like that, okay? I hope you get it. Understood? Good. I hope you did, alright? And stuff like that. And so they'll be more careful and they'll be more, I guess, open-minded or forced to be open-minded and stuff like that. And with America's reputation of having a very bad police force, having very strict laws, and, well, surprise, surprise, these people are going to be subjects to the massive oofs of the law. They're more likely to follow it, but then keep their religious practices inside or stay in large communities of Muslims, if that makes sense, or of their countrymen, or of their ethnic group, whatever floats their boats, whatever big their potatoes, So that's the thing. So they'll be more moderate. Let's just put it at that. So now, these two people are arguing with each other, this American, this European. And to be fair, both of them are making sense. But it seems that they're talking over each other, and even if they're trying to talk at each other, they're just at a different playing field. This is like one guy is playing basketball and the other guy is playing football. One team is playing basketball and the other team is playing football, right? And the ball itself just being the issue of Muslim immigration and refugees, right? So, that's the best analogy I can get. They're playing two different games. It was probably the most hilarious and most stupid argument I'd seen probably in my entire life. Not really, actually. No, maybe. Yeah, in terms of me not getting involved in this in a conversation, yeah, that conversation that I'd observed was probably the most stupidest thing I'd seen in my entire life. And I think I think America's far awayness from the rest of the world, or essentially from the Eurasian continent, or Euro-African Asian continent, or Eurasian Africa continent, whatever you want to call it, right? Make them have very weird opinions, and also they're in their own world anyway to begin with, so what's the point? And mind you, when I'm talking about this kind of things, I'm talking about the average person, like the average, how in statistics there's an average? Yes, I'm talking about that average person, Because of course, an American in the comment section would be like, hey bro, that is not the case. Blah, blah, blah. But you see, my fellow or good American friend, every part of America is its own country. It is what it is. And it's a fundamental fact in my opinion. Like the United States act as if they're a planet, Okay? And all those states act like countries. And all those counties act like states. And then, everything just devolves. Everything by default is larger than what it is. Even their language is like that. Like, they're awesome. American awesome is equivalent to fine. Fine in every other English. Right? So, overly positive. Seems to me that Americans smile a lot. And also in very oofed situations. So you really do not know what their emotions are. And stuff like that. Maybe you can tell or something like that. Like imagine, if their awesome is fine, imagine what their fine is. Their fine, like fine means like, in French you would say comme ci, comme ça. Like, a bit good, but also a bit bad. Like, half-half. If not half-half, then it's more bad, right? So I'd say, well, I'm not doing well. I think their fine would be, I'm not doing well. And if I'm not good, what does I'm not good mean? Probably, I'm doing very bad. And once I'm doing bad, it's probably I am depressed. I want to kill myself or something like this. I don't know. To be fair, I have not experienced or seen an American who is American, like when I say American in America, you know what I mean? And like I have no online interaction with probably the person who just sticks to real life more. And, it's not part of any aminos or any like, mapping or historical or geographical communities. Because they are like, I guess, one of the deterrents for other countries to say Americans are dumb. But, on average, Americans are dumb in terms of historical and geographical knowledge, if that makes sense. And stuff like that. So anyways, where was I? It's already 30 minutes. 26 and 55. I misread time. Damn. It's a sad day. Well, whatever. I just realized, you know what? Let's take a pause. This is a pause moment right now. I just realized that I talked a list of absolutely controversial, topics. And, bro, I think I should just steer away from that just for a bit. I just want on a fervor. You know what? I'm just going to upload this episode anyway. What's the chances of me getting cancelled? Probably I'm just going to get a warning from somebody. I don't know. Like the fact that I have to think this is just a sad day for freedom of speech, in general, because the fact that you could get screwed over for whatever you say is not cool. You know what I mean? So yeah. Anyways, it is fine. I hope I spoke logic. And if I didn't, let me know. And I think that's very subjective of anyone who's going to see it and say, oh yeah, I believe, Poland is a city, blah, blah, blah. And, and either I debate you or we talk on it personally on Discord, which I would prefer, on good old voice call. And it's also a good audition for being a podcast guest for that matter, actually. It's pretty cool, stuff like that. Anyways, I just went on a tangent because that was on my mind. That was bothering me at the moment. Good old 40 or 50 or 60 minutes of pure Ghjak. Absolutely pure Ghjak. And speaking of which, I forgot to say something. Hopefully you enjoyed the new intro. Yeah. So this new intro was made by Inanchi Mapping. Links to his channel down below. Some people think that he is my alt. Maybe. Who knows? Absolutely. Actually, who knows? Is he my alt or not? I do not know. But you will find out in 200 subscribers if that channel reaches 200 subscribers. But no, subscribe to my channel first. Because I'm planning to host a concert on Discord. Once the Ghjak channel reaches 200 subscribers. That's it. That's the goal. 200 subs for a concert. And I'm gonna wait until we get 210 subs just to be safe, so in case somebody unsubscribes and all, it's not too detrimental. Nervously smiles. Imagine that how you will, okay? And stuff like that. So a few of my viewers have asked me to talk about a few topics which I think needs to be talked about. And the reason why I'm speaking about this at the end is to absolutely avoid any of those random tangents that you had observed, in the past 30 minutes of this podcast. And coincidentally, they all come from a region of the Balkans, where most of my friends do come from, where most of the people who meant something in my life come from. Except for one guy, he came from Russia, but I'm going to count that region as also part of the Russian sphere because, it is what it is and stuff like that. So let's start with the big one. The one that you may not find big or anybody who's outside of the Montenegro will not find big, but I find it to be an absolute concern. The fact that mainstream media is not even reporting about this just shows how gay they are, how absolutely trash they are in their job, and is a reason why you will not see me be a journalist or even bother working for such companies, alright? I'll be frank, like, DW, France 87, pardon. Or France 24/7. Is this France 24? I don't know why they put on the thing. See, I'm going on a tangent again. No, focus. Whatever the heck, Euronews, all those American companies, like CNN, Fox News, whatever you want to call them, Sky News in Great Britain, BBC, okay, this is not going to be, SVT in Sweden. Okay, I have to stop. This is not like a naming competition for, news channels. So, Montenegro introduced a new religious law, which essentially defies the Serbian church, right? And this is a very, very controversial move. Because in essence, this law that is essentially made to, what you can say, essentially like in attempts to secularize, I'm saying in quotations, secularize the country, essentially giving government control over church property and, religious property. And, essentially this is a clear example of the state interfering in religious affairs. And essentially that the new law states that the religious communities can only retain their assets if they can produce clear evidence of their right to ownership, right? Which essentially puts the Serbian Orthodox Church in a massive oof. You see, the Serbian Orthodox Church in Montenegro has been a very, very, integral part of the country. And that's very clear, it would be absolutely oofed to mess with them because that is disrespectful to the Montenegrins and the culture and stuff like that. I believe that would be the case, stuff like that. What else? Yeah. And, essentially what this, new law does is that if you're unable to show the documentation of ownership, the state has all the power to do whatever the heck with the property of religious people. Now, not religious people, of the churches and stuff. Now, you see, this is where the oof comes in. There were I think 1,000 or plus Serbian, church monasteries, Serbian Orthodox Church monasteries in Montenegro. Very nice, beautiful, stuff like that. But you see, such documentation to say who owns this place doesn't exist because back in the day, it didn't make sense to do so. And second of all, it's the church's property. It's the property of the Serbian Orthodox Church, if that makes sense. And it was implicit in that sense and stuff like that. But the law kind of states it to be from a person, if that makes sense. Or that's from what I understood when I read about the law and stuff like that. Anyways. So what has happened is that, if I remember correctly, because I watched, Serbian Mapping, a former mapper turned, news reporter, or just turned information YouTuber, or the educational, I guess you can say. I saw his video, and that's how I came to know about this tragedy, occurring in Montenegro. And multiple of these monasteries have been destroyed. And listen up, if anyone desecrates any religious property, dude, I have a beef with you and I'm probably going to break your bones. And, I have a lot of worse things I can do to you if you had desecrated any religious sites or whatever. But, it depends on the religion and also, how close you are to me as a person, and also whether I get oofed with the law if I did it, and also, multiple other factors you just see. But essentially, I think I can assure that I can break a bone or two. I've not tried it. I nearly did it, but that's a story for another day, guys. A story for another day. Anyways, so back to what's going on in Montenegro. So because of this religious law, essentially undermines 30% of the entire population of Montenegro, right? Okay. So, of course, at the moment this new law was released, there were massive waves of protests all across Montenegro, and it weren't the 30% of Serbian Orthodox Church followers? Wait, Christians. Serbian Orthodox Christians coming out on the streets. Even fellow good old Montenegrins. Everyone coming out the streets and stuff like that. Condemning the moves of the government, because here's the thing. Such moves desecrates and undermines Montenegro's heritage. It is known that the tribes of Montenegro was also part of Serbia. As if I remember this correctly. Of course, any Montenegrins in the chat, please talk about this issue in the comment section. I'll make sure to pin it, and stuff like that. Please, educate everyone on this. And you know what? Please do come on the podcast so that we can discuss, upon this issue, and stuff like that. But as far as I'm aware, it has triggered everybody and actually put a state of civil unrest in Montenegro. And then there are protests. People are getting arrested, stuff like that. I remember watching a video of a war veteran of the Yugoslav wars. The guy was blind in one eye, and he said that yelling to the police in desperate pleas that, why are you hurting our youth? Look at me. I'd lost one eye, and lost one eye from the war that came to hurt our country. And now our fellow man is hurting our own country and hurting the youth of tomorrow. You have to stop this. You must understand that our country is falling out of true hands and stuff like that, And I think such a day marked the end of democracy, or the status of Montenegro as a democracy. The thing is, the big question you may be asking, why hasn't the EU done anything about it? Why hasn't NATO, or if you're French, OTAN, had done anything about it? Well, you see, Montenegro, if I remember correctly, is part of the EU, and most definitely part of NATO. So why would NATO interfere in the affairs of its allies? You see, this is the clever political maneuvering by the asshole known as Montenegrin Prime Minister Duško Marković. Alright? Duško Marković. Right? I think this is the guy, or it's the president. I don't know, but one of them were in Montenegro separated from Serbia, back in the day. And back then, he was, let's join Serbia anytime, blah, blah, blah. Okay? And stuff like that. But now, I think he's trying to break away from, a supposed control Serbia has over Montenegro, and made the following moves to be more pro-Western and stuff like that. And you see, the Western powers don't give a shit about Montenegro. It's more like, well, if they're on our camp, it is cool. They're not on Russia's side at least. They're not on Ching Chong China sides at least. It's cool. So, it's very clear why they're not doing anything. And so what, this prime minister or the president, I'm not sure. I'm very confused. Don't remember this clearly because I'm not Montenegrin. Talked about, or what he did was essentially oof the economy of Montenegro and made just things a lot worse. It is what it is, and stuff like that. And that's one thing. And what else? Yeah. So here's a big issue. How could this civil unrest and potential civil war break out into a Balkan war? Balkan war number whatever the heck. The powder keg of Europe. How many times do you expect it to explode? Alright? So, you see, because Serbia has the inherent right, the inherent duty, right, as a place where the Serbian Orthodox Church was founded, to go and do something about it. To go and intervene if necessary, right? And also, and not only that, similar kinds of uber nationalistic movements are occurring in all countries. I think you may have heard that Serbia had gone down a similar path where democracy fell and, all things went to shit, essentially. And that's happening in most other Balkan countries as well. Corrupt regimes, politicians, stuff like that, essentially causing a massive oof and screwing everybody over. Frankly, that's what's going on, right? And so this could spill over with one intervening into other, and then, we have a war. And if you want to ever see indications of a new war that could begin, always see the rising tensions in the region and also between the neighbors of the countries and stuff like that. Rising tensions, and then the tension is gonna, have to be released one way or the other. And the quickest way for it to be released is through a conflict, however big it is, And, that also determines how long war lasts, But it is what it is. And not good, it is what it is. But it is what it is. And we can't, I feel oof because I can't do anything about it other than giving you some idea of what the heck is going on and hopefully you Googling it and stuff like that. Maybe actually the description of the episode would be better. Stuff like that. Planning to upload it to Google Podcasting if that helps. I don't want to remove views from my YouTube channel though. Whatever. It is what it is. Now, on to the second issue that I would like to talk about today. That being the Hagia Sophia being turned into a mosque. Now, I do not know about you guys, but this is an absolute oof. In my honest opinion, it's an absolute oof. Right? Depending on who you are, you may see it as so or not. But let me explain why I find this an absolute oof. First, it's a museum. It was a UNESCO heritage site. The Hagia Sophia, is an architectural masterpiece and a unique testimony to the interactions between Europe and Asia over the centuries. And the fact that its status as a museum reflects the universal nature of its heritage and makes it a very powerful symbol of dialogue. And since relations between the Christian and the Muslim worlds have not improved at all, I'll be honest, hasn't improved at all in the grand scheme of things, such balances must be maintained. And yours truly, Recep Tayyip Erdogan decided that, N-word, we are going to make this be into a mosque. Why? For his political maneuvering. Essentially steering Turkey away from the path of secularism put by Kemal Mustafa Ataturk. Right? The path that led Turkey being so secular and so open-minded that it was very close to joining the European Union. But as you can see, since the Turkish economy tanked, there's resentment and stuff like that. He decided to appeal to the Muslims and or the very conservatives and the Muslims and turned Hagia Sophia into a mosque. Alright? I can't accept this. Frankly speaking, I just can't accept this. But it is what it is. And I don't think this is, to be fair, many of the, on the day of the first prayer, I think it was a Friday prayer, the Jummah prayer, on Hagia Sophia, many of the local stores closed to pray at this momentous occasion. And you know what? Fair enough. And stuff like that. And some stores remained open, but very actually welcomed the move. But for them, from a business standpoint, it just means that more people will start visiting the old city sector, part of the church. You know what I mean? Church. Of the city. I do apologize. Of the city. The thing is that, according to the president's website, Erdogan's website, it'll still be a place where all of the religions can visit, but it also adds that it will continue forever to serve all the believers as a mosque. Interesting thing, right? It didn't say Muslims, all believers. Bro, this is like clearly showing that Turkey has decided, to steer away from secularism. Probably because that secularism is what threatens Erdogan's power. And as a result, you can see the oof in this situation. Now, it is just that, really. I can't do much. I can't say much either about it. I mean, there's a lot more oofs happening in Turkey. And if there are any Turks in the viewing, in the comment section, please do, come on over. Let's have a chat. Let's talk. Explains of all the oofs that's happening in your country. This is also a reason why I invite people to talk about their country and saying what's wrong, what's oofed, what's, Because there's so many it is what it is moments that need to be explored. But sometimes those it is what it is does not need to be an it is what it is. And that there is a hope for it to be changed from an it is what it is situation to we can change that. Something can be done, And the fact that kind of attitude amongst people should be so common that it has just become a thing that we just say it is what it is, Stuff like that. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the solo podcast episode of Ghjak on the mic, where Ghjak is on the mic speaking without any restrictions, without any structure. Yes, professional podcast. We will become the best in the world. We will, right? 100%. I'm certain. We'll beat the Joe Rogan podcast, which currently is the largest podcast, okay? We do not know how, but we will get there because it is what it is, guys, and we will get there. I mean, that's it. And stuff like that. I'm just gonna experiment this solo podcast. Maybe it'll just kind of be like an update podcast, or when I see something massively oof occurring, that I make an episode or whatnot, ching chong, whatever. That wasn't racism, because racism is just a part of the human condition, and I don't have to speak more about that to make myself look more of an idiot. But this podcast is just basically me looking like an idiot. So, it is what it is. Got it, guys? It is what it is. Sisa. That's that. Alright then, guys. I will see you tomorrow. Yeah, because, this was uploaded on Saturday. So, on Sunday you'll see me talking to somebody. And I think it's actually be a very good one. Especially, because we're going to be looking into history of a community and, stuff like that. Yep. See you guys. Bye.